The Moscow region is ablaze. Ukrainian drones have reached one of the largest logistics centers of the Russian marketplace Wildberries. In Koledino, a warehouse with an area of nearly 250,000 square meters burned down. And this is already the 7th out of the 10 largest Wildberries logistics hubs that have been disabled by the Ukrainian Defense Forces. For Russian sellers, this is not just the destruction of warehouses. It is billions in losses, disrupted logistics, and goods that are now literally burning up along with their businesses. We have calculated the Russians' losses. The figures are coming up in the report.
A Wildberries warehouse in the Moscow region village of Koledino burned down following a Ukrainian attack. Everything around is in smoke and helicopters were brought in to extinguish the fire. The Ukrainian Defense Forces struck the largest Wildberries logistics hub in Russia. Its area is about 250,000 square meters. The fire covered such a significant area that extinguishing it will take a long time.
WB is burning, yes.
As reported by the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense, Ukraine has already managed to disable 7 of the 10 largest Wildberries logistics centers. And the Ukrainian company Firepoint even revealed exactly what was used to strike the warehouse. The Defense Forces of Ukraine struck the Wildberries logistics hub in Koledino with Ukrainian FP-1 UAVs. The facility is used for storing, sorting, and distributing dual-use goods. The Ukrainian army began attacking Wildberries facilities on July 18th. Since then, dozens of logistics hubs across Russia have been hit. According to Forbes, restoring the damaged infrastructure and warehouses will cost Wildberries 200 billion rubles, which is over $2 billion. At the same time, the total losses for the marketplace's sellers could reach up to 500 billion rubles, which is nearly $6 billion.
Essentially, right now, Wildberries only has 2 large warehouses left. That's Kazan and Yekaterinburg. We definitely had goods in Kolesino. I don't know if they were moved out or not. I really hope that some kind of normal, adequate support will actually come. Because what is currently available, the support from Wildberries and the state, is negligible. Well, it's just a piece of paper. I can't call it anything else.
Well, that's it, dear friends. Kolesino has burned down too. That was the largest warehouse. Many entrepreneurs had their largest stock levels in this warehouse. That's it. There's nothing left to burn now. Now that's it. There are no large warehouses left. None remain.
And while some marketplace sellers are complaining that compensation for destroyed goods is not to be expected, others seem to have already resigned themselves to their fate.
600 units burned down. Well, it burned, honestly. I'm just so tired of all this.
And some are predicting that Ozon warehouses will be next. This is another Russian marketplace.
My personal opinion on the matter is that Ozon is in a huge risk zone. I've just read what foreign media are writing, what the founder of Firepoint is saying. This is the company that produces the drones that smashed the WB warehouses. And the founder himself says that Ozon will be a logical target.
Economists explain the attack on Wildberries warehouses was a blow to Russian small and medium-sized businesses, which are already going through tough times as it is. Furthermore, this will also lead to the loss of dozens of jobs. And the most vulnerable here are the couriers and warehouse workers. And the destruction of key infrastructure will force marketplaces to decentralize warehouses and factor new threats into their costs. And all of this will inevitably lead to a price hike for consumers. Veronika Ivashchenko details, Inter-TV channel, Marathon United News.
Mr. Dmytro, regarding the negotiation process, we remember Marco Rubio's statement that the format needs to be changed. What format is possible, in your opinion? Perhaps first there needs to be, an air truce and only then sit down at the negotiating table. What could change?
By the way, regarding these statements by Rubio, you make a very valid point that, perhaps something needs to be done first. These proposals, when Rubio says that, they have developed some formats there, in reality, this is a return to the Ukrainian proposals of 2025.
Done.
Yes, in the spring of 2025, the Ukrainian proposals in Saudi Arabia, they were absolutely concrete. Let's start for now. Yes, a truce at sea, a ceasefire at sea, a cessation of long-range strikes in the air, yes, that is, and so on. But the American side, which simply craved a quick success at that time, insisted that no, it would be a 30-day full truce. Ukraine agreed to this. Russia agreed, but with such caveats that, of course, it gutted the whole thing and it couldn't possibly work. This was even obvious to the American side. Now, yes, this is a return to exactly those kinds of Ukrainian proposals. This, and one more point. What Zelensky is unequivocally talking about all the time, and what Ukraine is talking about all the time, is the need to increase pressure on the Russian Federation. Because as we have seen over these past year and a half, it doesn't work any other way. And one more point is the participation of Europe, because even now we see, yes, this specific format involving Britain, France, and Germany, who clearly want, yes, to actively shape this entire negotiation process through ongoing consultations with Poland and Italy, and perhaps even Norway as well. Yes, it is a complex diplomatic landscape that continues to evolve as we speak. Here it is, and it's clear why, because this is something that the United States should accept. Firstly, even according to Trump's logic, the main weight of support for Ukraine now lies with the Europeans. Yes, that is, they are providing the aid, and that is logical. Secondly, this is Europe. This war is happening in Europe, and the threats from Russia are coming from precisely from Russia. Yes, so here, that is why it is precisely up to the Europeans. And thirdly, well, Europe should be gaining agency, according to Trump's words. But I think that this is a sufficiently complex process, because in Europe, everything is not entirely unambiguous. Not everyone gives a mandate to these countries, but this is where we also need to move, and what Rubio should perceive.
Mr. Dmytro, regarding the pressure on Russia, in particular sanctions. The Senate voted for the Graham-Blumenthal sanctions bill, but it is still awaiting consideration in the House of Representatives. Most likely this will be after the recess. That is, the consideration will be approximately in September. When will a window of opportunity appear to specifically pressure Putin so that he sits down at the negotiating table? And is this sanctions bill this lever of pressure on Russia?
Any law that is passed is already a lever of pressure. And judging by Moscow's reaction, this is in principle quite obvious, because it really marks the appearance of a powerful new tool that can be effectively used. And again, regarding this specific law, well, we all remember the whole complicated story of how it was actually passed and how there were so many promises made that it would be absolutely hellish for everyone involved. Yes, with sanctions and 500% tariffs on everyone who trades with the Russian Federation, it was obvious that in such a form it was hardly possible. Yes, and now we see, yes, that is how it has changed, how it has become different. I think that its adoption is possible, but we are already seeing the reaction from the People's Republic of China. So its adoption in itself will not mean implementation. So this is one of the elements of pressure, yes, on the Russian Federation. Maybe the existence of such an instrument there, but as for me, well, nothing more than that. The pressure applied must be truly full-fledged, and it should, once again, also concern the critical aid provided to Ukraine. Yes, that is to say, the level of support must be significantly increased. And if there is a real desire to end this war, then this must finally be understood. Pressure, 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 and aid to Ukraine.
Theoretically, Mr. Dmytro, let me ask. For example, if this law is passed, there is also a planned meeting between Trump and Xi. Could it be discussed in these negotiations that, for example, Trump says, I will not sign this law or I will not enforce it, but Xi must pressure Russia so that these negotiations happen after all? Could such an option exist, at least theoretically?
Well, I think that is one of the elements. It might be brought up, but one can confidently say that this is not a fundamental issue for the United States in this context, because their relations with the People's Republic of China, they, well, at least for Trump, they seem much more, well, multifaceted, multi-layered. There are many interests there. And I am more inclined to believe that it will be used as an argument there, that we won't put it into effect. But let's have you continue buying soybeans from us, yes, from the United States. That, yes, that is more believable under this administration.